Okay, so we're at Gartner Expo 2022, and I'm talking to Richard Davies, the digital transformation guru from OutSystems. And Richard, the thing that's most on my mind is we've got this sort of war for talent going on. And I've been hearing for years that nobody can get software developers and so on. It seems to me that that's a perfect time for people to be talking to OutSystems.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what people are really feeling is there's an acute talent shortage, and people are looking for greater productivity out of their workforce as well at the same time. So the platform that we've got can help with both of those problems. One is you don't need as many teams or as many people to deliver software really rapidly, but we also help skilling up resources. For instance, in a customer, we can both cross-skill their IT resources as well as skilling up maybe some like less traditional type resources, like say technical BAs or people of that ilk, and get them productive on the platform as part of a fusion team.
Okay. And you say, like, the company's been in Australia for about 5 years. You've got, 100 odd clients?
Yeah, we've got a bit over 100 customers in Australia, ranging across all industries really, from startups right through to large enterprises.
Yeah.
We've been established for about a bit over 20 years, founded in Portugal, but we've seen the customer base grow pretty significantly in Australia as well.
And is there any sort of common theme to why those customers are coming to you guys?
Yeah, look, usually we'll have customers come to us when the way they're building software at the moment just isn't giving them the level of productivity they need and the differentiation they need. So they need a capability which lets them do what they're doing with traditional development, whether it's like building mobile apps or web portals or something like that. But especially with the pandemic, there's been a lot of changes that have occurred in the digital models of a lot of industries, and they just can't move fast enough. So that's really where we're helping.
Okay. It sort of begs the question, why are people not doing this all together? Like, why are they persisting with, more complex, more sort of resource-intensive sort of development programs? Why the difference?
I ask myself that question a lot. And look, I think there's sometimes a few reasons. One is sometimes organisations are just so busy with keeping the lights on activities that they don't even have the time to look around and see what's there, is one of the reasons. Another is there's just a lot of inertia that just means they don't look at other approaches because they're just used to doing things in certain ways. It's partly cultural in some organisations as well. There's a lot of tradition, there's a lot of sunken cost, and no one wants to have their egg on their face for being seen to make a bad decision as well. So there's a whole lot of reasons, but again, there's not a lot of options for some companies now. It's like a do or die thing. If they don't make some changes, they may end up going out of business.
Yeah, and presumably OutSystems is pretty interoperable, is it? Like, can you explain how it works with sort of legacy systems and things like that? Like what?
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, being able to operate within an enterprise, integrate into existing capability is really critical, right? There's no organisation that you go into, with the exception of startups, that's completely greenfield. So we've got a strong integration capability in the platform we can leverage. But, some organisations also have an integration layer that they've invested in, and we'll work happily with that as well. So think of the platform as like IT polyfiller. We're not there to replace parts of the technology landscape that are already well under control, but we're there to fill in bits where an organisation is struggling with capability and productivity.
Okay, so a couple of examples of that. I like the polyfiller analogy, I get that, but what's some practical examples of that?
All right, so some of the customers we've got, for instance, they're pretty diverse. Like one of the ones I spoke about yesterday was the NDIA. So they needed to build a mobile application for people with disabilities who are NDIS participants. They wanted those people to be able to make claims via their mobile apps really easily. Obviously there's a lot of accessibility requirements which are quite complex technically. There's a lot of security requirements because obviously we're dealing with PII data. And we also want something with a really strong user experience because we want the app to be very usable. We're able to build that in conjunction with one of our partners for NDIA in 3 months. That's the productivity benefit you get, even though technically that sort of app is quite difficult to build. And there was a lot of research done beforehand in terms of what are the requirements for the app. But that's just one type of application that's built. Another type of application that we built is, for instance, with Arnott's. So they separated from Campbell's, and they needed an enterprise business process management layer for building a whole range of processes from procurement, marketing related processes, and other processes that they hadn't even yet defined. And they selected OutSystems partly because of its capability for building those processes, but also partly because they knew that they wanted to do other types of applications that maybe went beyond processes as well, other sort of employee-facing apps. So it's pretty diverse depending on the organisation, what they need, where they're starting, what they've already got. We don't, as I said, look to replace what's working. We'll work around what you've got and fill in the gaps.
Okay. And I noticed you have a sort of subscription model.
Yep.
There's a premium or freemium sort of structure to it. Is that right?
Absolutely. So you can go to outsystems.com and get a personal environment, which is free for yours forever. And you can actually do all of the training, which we've got online on that environment, and build apps. There's no functional limitations on it. Right. We can also, where it's appropriate, provide customers with trials before they choose a commercial subscription as well if they want to try out the full commercial enterprise environment.
And finally, what are customers saying if for their first time of using OutSystems? What sort of feedback do you get?
Well, the best feedback I've ever had from a customer is it does what it says on the box, which is it delivers the productivity gains that we say it does, and it doesn't have the limitations that a lot of low-code, no-code platforms have. A lot of customers are worried that they're going to hit a wall in terms of they'll get 90% of the way there and they won't be able to finish what they want to build. So we're very focused on both of those aspects, keeping the productivity, not hitting that IT wall, and at the same time resolving those skills issues that you were talking about earlier.
Okay, terrific. Richard, thanks for your time.
Thanks very much.